It's a beautiful morning to you, dear viewer. Thank you so much for keeping faith with us right here on this amazing channel, Western Spring Television. This is Morning Spring. This is where we keep you abreast of happenings around you and then bring you quality analysis, discussions, insightful discussions into some of the most or major stories rattling the nation. My name is Timito Peck Ajijola, welcoming you super delightedly to the last installment, the TGIF edition of Morning Spring today. And right here beside me is the man looking dapper in. Tell me, good morning.
Thank you. And of course, you look pinky.
Oh, yeah.
That's a radio pinky. You might not be wearing pink, but then blue sharp.
Thank you.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us today on Western Spring Television. As Topper said, we are here for you, and everything we are going to talk about today, as always, will be about public good. Again, I am Femi Oje. It's good to have you on the program. We'll look at the headlines from different dailies, and of course, we're here to talk about these issues as well, and so many of these issues that we will talk about, all of them in the course of the program today. Thank you for staying with us all week. And the newspaper segment is next. But then, before all of those things, you know, the issue, one of those things that talking point of the week is the issue about and around former petroleum minister in Nigeria, under Goodluck Jonathan, Gezani Alison Madekwe. Actually, you know, there has been back and forth of court cases, allegations, repatriate her back to Nigeria. Okay, she's sick, she's there in London receiving treatment for, you know, cancer, all of those things. But then there was a resumed hearing right there in London. And the woman has been seen, you know, in the dock, in the course of the week, videos around her and about her shown that she looks, you know, quite well in a kind of way, physically, I mean. And the woman, you still see her donning designer, actually. And so, in fact, there was, I think you showed me a video yesterday of the same woman that appeared to be coming from a shopping spree. You know, having different designer bags and packs with her and all of those looking on the top, actually. Of course, it's only the court that can pronounce somebody guilty, but then we know what the allegations are from the Nigerian end. So many witnesses against her about her time as the minister in charge of petroleum, which was quite eventful. Mostly for the wrong reasons, actually. And by the way, talking about achievement, she was the first petroleum minister, female petroleum minister, and the first chairman of OPEC that is female. But then all of those things seems to have been eroded with these allegations of fraud, of bribery, majorly bribery, and our perceived lavish lifestyle of buying very exorbitant and costly things, and some of those things that people have alleged that she received, you know, when she was minister in Nigeria. And it is what we are seeing right now. Now, she left office more than 10 years ago. Whatever the allegations are, when I mean the Nigerian state, have not been able to successfully prosecute her. More than 10 years. They left in 2015. This is 2026.
11 years after.
By May 29, it will have been 11 years. Yet, the Nigerian state have not been able to successfully prosecute Gezani Alison Madekwe. The case with the former NSA, Sambu Dasuki, is neither here nor there as well. But then, it is what it is. But then, my main focus is on Gezani, that many persons will be. You know, there are many persons that have this opinion that if you want to steal in Nigeria, steal so big, so that you can have enough to derail
or
in a kind of way, or prosecution, because you have enough to get big lawyers, and of course firstly, you even fight the jurisdiction of the court. If the court has a jurisdiction, they might fight that one for 1 or 2 years.
You can't
hear this case, and all of those things. And then, with all of those things, 10 years after, conservatively speaking, nothing has happened to the Ezani, Alison Madikwe. And the woman appears to be balling in London.
She appears to be, really. I mean, that video said she was just coming out of a court trial, and she was there carrying different designer shopping bags. I mean, it was a sight. It was just a very, very troubling, concerning sight. And the fact that she seemed unperturbed was no remorse in the way she was looking. But you said it's been years. And even if a person had this guilt of whatever, you know, over the years, you would have, you know, consoled yourself. And besides, some people might say that perhaps she has no guilt because she feels she's not guilty. That's it. But then I want to speak to a very important issue. Over time in Nigeria, women have not been so accepted the way we would want, that they have the same level playing ground in politics or in public offices. And I dare say that the few women who have been opportuned to, you know, occupy some very important offices in Nigeria, several of them have come or ended their time in office disappointing the people who feel, you know, or who have, or the women who have said, give us a chance. We can prove our mettle. We can prove our worth and our substance. Several women are doing well. The likes of the late Dora Akuyili, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and several other women who are older, who have done their part and left office. Exactly. But some women too, like the women who have occupied the humanitarian affairs office, there have been a lot of controversy around that. And now, Daisani as well. Several others that we cannot begin to mention that. So a lot of things. I feel that as much as men are also doing this, you know, there's corruption, there's controversy around men. I feel that men have been, you know, they don't need that acceptance anymore. Women are still the ones who are fighting for acceptance, you know, on all sides, especially when we're talking about politics and public office holding. And so we need to do better so that we will not close the door or close the little trust window that we have on, will not shut it on others. Let us use our time in office, you know, proving to the men that yes, and to other women that women can actually hold those offices and do better there, you know, than what we are having. Women are still doing well, but we just want that every woman who holds a public office is doing that and is putting posterity, you know, in consideration as they work there and when leaving. But whatever it is, 11 years is too much. I mean, Nigeria was unable to prosecute successfully, and now they've somewhat handed it over to the UK because, yes, she's in the UK. She wasn't, I mean, she traveled. I was saying, you were talking about the fact that it should still be, you know, to get lawyers and all. And also, part of it is to leave the country successfully. There are ways that Nigeria can get you, you know, at the ports. But there are some people who, through whatever means that you may think you have, they will still find their way out of the country. We have several of them.
Well, so many talking points there. You have raised so many germane questions. Talking about getting people back, there are some that will think maybe the Nigerian state is not really serious
with prosecuting
about prosecuting the Ezani and maybe repatriating all of a sudden.
I mean, we have people who have been repatriated, even somewhat, you know, illegally.
Because a certain Mazi kind of comes to mind, the way he was brought back. You know, they call it repatriation. Some will call it kidnapping. You know, in the manner in which it was done from Kenya, and maybe they will say the Nigerian state at the time, under that leadership of Buhari, was very intentional about bringing the guy back, the man back, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So that on one side. Number two is this, you talk, and it's quite concerning for me, because you talk about women who in Nigeria, as it is, will have to do as much as twice, improving to the society that they are capable of holding their own in whatever capacity. And so, while we might have those that have been hitherto disappointing, we have high flyers. And I dare say, the high flyers are many, so much more than, the ones that have had these dents on their image while occupying public office. Because, it comes to mind, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the big madam, that's the Oga madam, at the World Trade Organization, doing so amazingly well. Globally, at the highest level of trade, that's the highest level of trade in the world.
Wow.
And of course, she was a former minister. She occupied a role as a minister at the time, and she left. No bad air, except the politics around our name and the ministry at the time. Obviously, Kwizili has been very vocal. She might not be a partisan regular politician, but she's not far from it. And her voice has been so loud. Whatever she believes in, rightly or wrongly, she keeps saying. And the former head of service was Folashade Esan.
Yeah.
Quite a high flyer. She retired, at the highest level of civil service in Nigeria. That's the place that people call the cesspool of corruption. Whatever it is, at least for now, no allegation around her name. And that's, you call her at that time the #1 civil servant in Nigeria, because she retired as the head of civil service of the Federation. So we have many of them across states, many deputy governors, many commissioners, many private individuals. A follower Ushoala Kija will easily come to mind. She might not be in politics, but you can't talk about economy and money, long money, without talking about, that's what they call all, there are many kinds of money, kinds of money. There is long money, there is old money, all of, but that's not the basis. What am I saying is this. Now, you might have some of those few that have, now we can't declare some of those ones as, we are not caught that they are, accused or whatever allegations around them are true, but then we are talking about allegations around them. So you talk about the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management. That's what they called it under Buhari. Disaster management. That end up being a disaster
in itself.
Promotion. Because you had a Sadia Umar Farouk who was there at the time. I remember in 2020 COVID, that was the same ministry that claimed that they were fielding school children during lockdown. The children that were at home. We saw during COVID why the ministry, superintended by Sadia Umar Farouk at the time, had worth of money on tables at distribution centers for what they call conditional cash transfer. There's a name they call it there, palliative money and all of those things. Till now, nobody has. The Nigerian state has not really said anything serious about her time in office. So she left. And then another woman, former commissioner of health I think she's from Cross Rivers. Yeah. Better do, she was former women leader of the APC. Now she got that ministerial role. And before you could say Jack Robinson, allegations started flying of,
she didn't even
chartering flights and whatever. She didn't even do a year, actually. So what happened was she was eased off. Till now, nothing, extremely nothing about Betty I do, and all of those persons. But while we can talk about those ones, the men too are doing, I don't want to say amazingly, well. They are doing, it's a lot, actually. And but then this is not really a gender thing.
Yeah.
I understand the place you are coming from to say, while the top still looks a bit tough, not inaccessible, tough for women climbers. Some of the few ones, well, let me say many, some of the few ones that have climbed have not really represented the female folks. You might want to talk about young people as well. Don't even get me started, because not too young to rule. These and that. We have some of them that have been governors, and they have been a disaster in the state. But then, while we have the ones that will disappoint, we have the ones that are doing amazingly well. And it doesn't have to be politics. Many young women are right there, in a place of trade right now, like legit trade, doing amazingly well for themselves. And, this program is for all of you this morning. People might not be seeing you, but your conscience is alive. And of course, one day you will make yourself proud. And of course, people around you are proud. But most importantly, the Nigerian state needs to do better, because there's no way anybody will see, especially preventing corruption, prevention, putting system in place. Because when you make it hard, person will go steal. But don't make it too easy that way, because there's somebody 10 years after will look at Diezani in London, if having Fendi, Fentil, Dolce and Gabbana all over the place, and you want to say corruption is bad, you might have a tough time,
or selling that point.
And we have to do better.
Yeah, another thing is news is just, coming in from, I don't know, from here in Oshogo. I don't know if it's all over the country, but it's concerning that petrol price, has gone up again. Whatever it is, we hope the authorities can, make good a promise to make life easy for commuters and for people at large.
Right. Trust us to be on this matter and more, but the newspaper segment is now. Page over the papers that we have for today, and that will be The Guardian. Let me start with The Guardian today. How varsities mass produce research without solutions to society ills. How varsities mass produce research without solutions to society ills. You need to see the numbers of projects that are being written every day. Research this, research that, Some even going through their nose to pay for some of these researches, but some will say at best it has to mostly been academic than solution driven, and all of these things.
Probably there aren't solutions to some of our problems.
Well, you see now. To that, you see these statement: mass-produced research rarely translates into innovations that significantly impact local industries or communities. These divide extends beyond the research into curriculum and institutional linkages, as companies seldom engage Nigerian universities for research and development and marketing innovations, as is commonly seen internationally. That is the reason why they call a relationship between the town and the gown. The town, that's a community. The gown, that's the school. Having a symbiotic relationship, and of course, getting the better for the society. But it seems we are a bit far away from that as a people. Amatekun denies accidental discharge at our training ground. NCC removes 450 illegal signal boosters, reassigns spectrum. They should do that, especially talking about the war against insecurity. APC weighs leadership shakeup as Ndume warns of northern discontent. Why are the northern, or why would the north be discontent? IPOP fought Soludo's threat to revoke initial market ownership rights, and Wike commissions 12 ambulances as FCTA workers resume strike. Zulum okays direct payment of monthly allocations to Borno local government. Really? Finally. And 58.4 trillion naira. Not like he has a say. When the governor, there is a Supreme Court order about autonomy, and the governor is saying, okay, you guys can go ahead with your autonomy. It doesn't look like the power rests with him, talking about constitution. But politically speaking, everybody knows what happens. Now, 58.4 trillion naira budget scales through second reading without debate. All right, fuel price hike imminent as oil prices exceed budget benchmark. Fuel price hike imminent as oil prices exceed budget benchmark, and Senate probes waning Abuja-Kaduna railway operation. That particular route came with fanfare when it was commissioned, but it has seen several attacks since then. Derailment and, of course, attacks, by bandits and all of those things. Cargo agents kick as fan increases tariff by 257%. How? Cargo agents kick as Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria increases tariff by 257%. That will be The Guardian. With that big story, bold headline, Publish or Perish. How varsities mass produce research without solutions the society heals. That'll be all from The Guardian.
All right, let's go now to the face of the Punch newspaper for this morning. And the banner headline here says, Federal Government's 9 trillion naira domestic loans surge drains lifeline from businesses. Federal Government's 9 trillion naira domestic loan surge drains lifeline from businesses as the riders' private sector lending falls as federal government's domestic borrowing jumps 152%. Economists say stricter loan rules taking off business funding. APC engaging Wike to resolve Rivers crisis, says Bashiru. APC engaging Wike to resolve Rivers crisis, says Bashiru. Right. Meter costs spark discos. Federal government showdown on tariffs. Meter costs spark discos. Federal government showdown on tariffs. That's on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. You can see the gory sight of a plane crash there. Plane crash kills Colombian lawmaker, 14 others. Pray for the repose of the souls of the dead, and we pray that the hearts of those affected, are comforted right there. Beside the nameplate, $750 million World Bank loan. Federal government raised taxes on alcohol, cigarettes. Federal government raised taxes on alcohol, cigarettes. That's on page 28 of the Punch newspaper right there. Right, 2027, Oshiomhole Tambuwal on Senate's high-stakes Electoral Act review panel. Oshiomhole Tambuwal on Senate's high-stakes Electoral Act review panel. Former politicians right there, involved in the Electoral Act review panel. Okay, those are the headlines right there, coming through the Punch newspapers this morning.
All right. You read something about alcohol and cigarettes. Yeah. What's that about?
Federal government is raising the taxes on those two items. And probably, it says from the angle of the World Bank loan, $750 million of it. And so if we are to pay back that loan, the federal government possibly is looking to gaining, part of the money from taxes on alcohol and cigarettes.
All right. Interesting.
It's always there that cigarette is, they say, smokers are liable to that. So
even on alcohol,
to curb
drink respect.
Yeah, and remember that there's been a ban on sachet alcohols. Those ones they call belebe and all.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I'm still seeing belebe.
Yeah, but there's been a ban, and there's been protests alongside. People are protesting that, and so
that they want to take belebe.
Yeah, they still want it. Yeah, of course, there are manufacturers, there are retailers, and there are the consumers as well. But I think that is a step in the right direction. There are some things that we do not want,
step in the right direction to bank belebe.
I'm talking about this. There are some things that we do not want to really, really permeate our society as much as it is right now, especially on cigarettes.
Okay.
And so if somehow we can make gains on all sides.
So when it's expensive,
the government's gains from it. Yes, when it's quite expensive.
Smokers, right?
Yes. Okay. And you find that those who are seemingly poor are the ones who abuse alcohol intake.
Well,
truly,
that would be a conversation.
Those are the ones you find, in the gutters.
You're talking about banning belebe.
Yeah.
There are so many persons that
it's been a long time
that will pull your clothes with this thing that we have said.
All right, but that's it.
Right. Daily Trust is next. Daily Trust newspaper. Revenue Service appointment flout new law. Revenue Service appointment flout new law. Section 17, subsection 1 of Part 4 of the NRS, that's the Nigeria Revenue Service Act 2025, stipulates that the President shall appoint 6 executive directors for the service, each representing a geopolitical zone on rotational basis among the states in the zone in alphabetical order, provided that the executive chairman and the executive director shall not come from the same state. So what is happening now? You might want to check the appointments that are being made and how that has flouted the new law. According to the Daily Trust, below that, one killed as DSS officer fires shot during dispute in Abuja. One killed as DSS officer fires shot during dispute in Abuja. That's no good thing at all. And just above that, you have the picture of members of the 2026 batch A Stream 1 of the National Youth Service Corps NYC presenting cultural performances across states yesterday. And of course, you can see this particular one, Kano State Said, and that SAED that you are seeing there.
Entrepreneurship development.
For those that have gone to NYC before, whenever Said is mentioned, it's for the good reasons, actually, skill acquisition. But some of those sessions can be the most boring
of all. Because it's supposed to be more about practical. The theory part.
You will first be taught theoretical before you now go. And
so the theory
it depends on the teachers at times. There are some of those sessions that you enjoy because of the person teaching. But now you have in my stream, who are 2005 or thereabout. And then you see the all, and definitely you wear your white and white. All of you looking funny. They used to call them white fowl at that time. And that would be coming from you will have woken up so early. Actually, the campaign was done during Harmattan, November, December. It wasn't funny. Actually, so you've woken up around 4:30. You see a full-grown man on the parade ground, doesn't?
Yeah.
And all of the so when you go to the march past, maybe they release you guys by 6:37, and then you go back to take your bath. You are tired, and then by 9 a.m. you must be. And if it's and then you see people.
What was the most annoying? That was the sound of the beagle. Wicked! Oh my God!
You already know.
But it was beautiful as well. The sound was beautiful.
The first week was not beautiful for me, but the last week. By that time, you have acclimatized and everything. And then you have made new friends. Everything became easier.
Yeah.
All right. I just hope because so many persons are calling for the scrapping of the NYC scheme, saying it as out, leave is usefulness because of some challenges that has come with it. But I hope the things maybe reviewed, maybe in a way reworked. But personally, I just hope it won't be scrapped because it took me to Delta State
beautiful
for the first time,
really. But over time, we're still using the template, from old.
There was a reason for it.
Revealed.
The scheme was brought up after the Civil War.
Yes.
To unite. To teach people into one another, learning. Yeah. But I think it should be reworked and reviewed.
Yes.
But I don't think it should be scrapped.
It shouldn't be scrapped. It's a beautiful one.
Now, Khan rejects Sharia Council's call for INEC chair's removal. Why? All right. We took a part of this yesterday. Khan rejects Sharia Council's call for INEC chair's removal and defection fallout. Kano deputy governor under pressure to resign. The man hasn't resigned. He hasn't joined party. The APC, so is in limbo. Remember,
why should he be under pressure to resign? He was democratically elected on a ballot.
On a joint ticket.
A joint ticket. It
was a joint ticket.
Joint ticket, rather.
Yeah, it was a joint ticket. As a deputy governor.
The governor, that is a ticket from a party.
Yeah.
And the governor defected. And so if
the governor
he should
picked
resign,
his deputy.
The governor picked his deputy. I think the party picked, they all came together.
Politically speaking, a governor always have, the candidates always have the upper hand
his preference.
But that doesn't say.
But if the
by
people
force
gave you that mandate,
yeah,
then if the deputy is resigning, you should resign.
All right. FCT schools remain short as strike lingers. Sad. And cargo costs to rise as Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria plans 250% tariff hike. Electoral Act Senate constitutes review panel, and that will be all from the Daily Trust.
All right, so let's go check out the face of Vanguard newspaper this morning. The banner headline here says, petrol to cost more as crude oil price rises further. It was just what I was saying. Motorcyclists lamenting terribly right here in Osun State. And right there, the rider says Bonny Light hits $70.30. U.S. crude inventories fall as tension in Middle East heightens. Diesel prices go up. Petrol remain unchanged. Petrol remain unchanged. Diesel prices go up. Petrol remains unchanged. Well, that's not the story or the report right here in our show. Expect pressure on businesses, households, says experts. Of course, I mean, motorcyclists are already lamenting, and motorists will begin to lament as well. And eventually, the prices, the fares are going to hike, and then it's going to in turn affect businesses and households. Businesses run on generators, businesses run on solar. All of those things are going to, really impact on the economy again, on businesses and households. All right, that's the story right there, the headline on Vanguard newspaper this morning. All right, over 160 members held by kidnappers in Kaduna, Kogi, says ECWA. Over 160 members held by kidnappers in Kaduna, Kogi, ECWA. ECWA has had now has a pool of the statistics of their members that have been held by kidnappers in Kaduna and Kogi.
And just in Kaduna.
2 states. Yeah. All right, the writer says, as church condemns Kajuru attack, worsening insecurity. I mean, Kajuru was hit twice. After that particular incident, there was another hit. You can find that on page 6 of Vanguard newspaper. All right, let's go now to the top strip of the paper. Nigeria's telecoms industry attracted over $1 billion in 2025. That's according to the NCC. Northern Can Christian leaders reject call for removal of INEC chair. Northern Can Christian leaders reject call for removal of INEC chair. This is fast becoming a religious battle right there. Josh Amopito, as by his name though, as Christian, we do not know if he practices though, but then Sharia is calling for his removal. Khan is saying no. It will not be removed. All right, page 9 says reps passed 2026 58.18 trillion naira budget for second reading. Page 9 has that story. Electoral Act, Senate sets up committee to galvanize opinion of senators. On page 8, you find that story. All right, back to the bottom strip on the world of sports. African final saga. CAF's hammer falls on Senegal, Morocco. CAF's hammer falls on Senegal, Morocco. Some referees, some players of both countries, have had fines and have been hit by some bans, in some games right there. Well, you can find that story right there on page 29 of Vanguard newspaper. An entertainment clash by Wizkid, Seun Kuti over Fela's legacy refuses to fade. Page 14 has that story, and Femi's most important or his favorite of all time on the face of Vanguard newspaper. Mr. and Mrs., do you know that to have sexual intercourse with your wife without her consent is rape? Marital rape? Well, then Mr. answers, then it's armed robbery if your wife forces you to part with money against your wish. Right.
Or half or
How is it the same? It's not the same for me.
That's from Mr. and Mrs. there. This is not me.
All right.
That's the story you read.
Okay.
Don't turn it around. Yeah.
Mr.
Right
and
now.
Mrs.
Yeah. What you
bringing us that controversial ideology on Vanguard newspaper.
All right, quick one. If that conversation, we can't end it here, actually, because both were talking about being forced against their will, actually. All right, we take a quick break. When we return, we speak to Egypt.